Hello, and welcome to another short puppet review. Today I am actually going to talk about two things, a movie and a new TV show. First off, let's get to talking about the movie, The Addams Family. This was a pretty fun film. The Addams Family has been known to have a quirky set of movies with fun characters, and the family's at the core of it all. And even though they're not your usual family, they're always one you can root for with how much they care for each other. And this new adaptation is no different. It's cool to see more of a cartoony life come to these characters as opposed to the live action that they've done in the past. I think that the style, although it looks kind of odd on some of the characters, like some of the normal people, there's this one girl whose character design I don't like at all. But it works pretty well for the rest of the characters in the movie, and the design of all the Addams Family characters are great. So I could kind of look past a few character designs that bothered me because they weren't the main focus of the movie. Nope, the main focus was the Addams Family, and they stole the show. It was really cool to see the world and all the little details inside of it. And we got to see their daily routines, how they do things as a family, the stuff that they see as important to them, and just how these characters interact with each other was a real treat to watch. But I wouldn't say this was a great film. There were a lot of story beats that felt pretty similar tropes, as in the, oh, they're different, so we must hunt them down, was kind of the MO of the quote-unquote bad guy or antagonist of the story for most of the movie. Luckily at the end that changed a little bit, but still it's something we've seen a bunch of times. Being true to yourself and being yourself is something we've seen in many kids movies before, and that wasn't really anything special about it, but it was fun to watch nonetheless. There were also a lot of references to a lot of previous movies, a lot of references to quotes from previous movies, and I kind of wish I could have just seen the story hold up on its own without making references, but it's still fun for what I got. And the music choices in this were interesting. I'm not quite sure how to feel about the music choices. Some of them make sense. Some of them feel, yeah, that worked, and then others felt like they didn't belong there at all. So it was kind of a weird mix of music choices, so I'm kind of on the fence. I think overall the music was okay, but those are just a couple of things there that kind of made me feel a little bit unsettled about the movie, just to go, okay, this isn't great, but it is still a fun movie. It's a fun Halloween one to go out and see the kids, and it's definitely one that I think I'd come back to every Halloween because it does get me in that spirit just with the whole overall aesthetic of the movie as a whole. The next thing I want to talk about is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, they made a reboot of that. I wasn't expecting it. When's the Goosebumps reboot coming out? All jokes aside, back in the 90s, Are You Afraid of the Dark was one of the few scary children's television series on that aired on Nickelodeon, and it was through a Canadian company, and you could tell because most of the names under the titles were French. Yeah, good old Canadians and their scary children's content. I think they technically did Goosebumps too. Yeah. But the 90s was really a time for that sort of thing, so it's really cool to see it come back, but with an extra twist onto it. We all remember the Midnight Society, and the whole basic premise of the original series was that this group of kids would meet up with each other. They didn't know each other, but they all came from like different schools and different backgrounds, but this was the one thing they had in common, is they would come around and tell stories. And each episode was then a story that each character would tell from the Midnight Society. The reboot goes along similar lines. We see the inauguration of a new member, but with that, we're getting the lines of fantasy and reality blurred a little bit more. The spooks may actually be happening, and it's interesting to see how the Midnight Society goes from telling these scary stories to possibly being the characters in the scary stories that they are telling. So it's kind of an interesting twist there. The only thing about it I'm not completely on board with is the fact that all these kids do know each other and most of them do go to the same school. I really liked the different backgrounds and different schools thing that was going on with the past one, because it was like this was the one thing they had in common. This is what binds all these kids together that would have not ever known each other. So that's kind of taken away from the reboot, but there's still some interesting stuff to explore. I only watched the first episode, but it definitely hooked me in and being interested and wanting to see more of what this reboot series has to offer. Especially if after the conflict of this one spooky story coming to life is resolved, are there going to be spooky stories in the future that come to life? Is there going to be some mystical lore behind it that any story the kids tell has the possibility to come to life and haunt them? There's just a lot of future interesting potential that can be used with this, and the cinematography is a little bit sharper too, just because it's 2019 now. So it's definitely something that I'm going to look forward to in the future, and it's definitely something I'm going to check out and kind of keep up with. So those are a couple of things. If you're looking for a Halloween thing that's a little more fun, very humorous and vibrant, I'd say do Addams Family. It's a good family film. It's lighthearted and cute, and it really shows how much the family cares about each other, which is good to see. But if you're looking for a little more on the spooky side of things, I'd say go check out the Are You Afraid of the Dark reboot. Or even check out the original Are You Afraid of the Dark to start off with. And go check out the original Goosebumps or The Haunting Hour. Any of those series are really fun to dive into, and depending on how you like your anthologies, there's a lot of stuff to look out. There's a series on Netflix that goes along the same lines. Creeped Out, that's what it's called. It's kind of like a Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark thing, but some of it's set in Britain and some of it's set in America. I don't know, but it's interesting too. So if those are things you like, those are some things to check out this Halloween. So if you like these reviews, make sure to put a paws up and press that like button. And don't forget to comment and subscribe as well. Comment below on some stuff that you like watching on the Halloween season. And hopefully I'll do another review soon. I haven't done a review in a while. There hasn't really been anything that I've wanted to review, with the exception of the stuff I just talked about now. So hopefully some stuff comes up. I haven't really seen anything that interesting for the Halloween season this year. It's kind of sad. Oh well, I guess I'll have to go off and make my own scares. Where's that bunny? That bunny's really been creeping us out. Hey, bunny! Give me a scare! That's not a scare!